The complaint is that denying the appellant access to the county offices during the period of the trial was tantamount to his removal from office as contemplated by Article 181 and hence contrary to the requirements of Section 62(6). But limiting the governor's access to the county offices while he is facing trial for corruption offenses cannot be construed or equated to a removal from office. The governor has not been ordered to vacate his office. He may access his office, but on the conditions imposed by the court. Though his access is limited, he remains the governor. Given the aforegoing, our view is that the allegation that the imposition of bail terms barring the appellant from the county offices was tantamount to a removal from office is therefore unfounded. As such, we agree with the High Court that application of Section 62(6) was unnecessary and the learned judge was not compelled to apply that provision to the circumstances of this case. Of greater relevance, perhaps, is the question of whether the bail terms that barred the appellant from office or subjecting the county government to the control of EACC was reasonable. Furthermore, on the complaint that the learned judge failed to consider the impact of the ruling on the county government of Samburu, this is what the learned judge had to say. First, I consider what the implications of directing that the applicant does not access his office. This is provided for in Section 32(2) of the County Governments Act, which states that the deputy governor shall deputize for the governor in the execution of the governor's functions. End of quote. The learned judge went on to state that therefore there would be no vacuum in the county offices and that there have been instances where due to ill health, a governor has been unable to attend to their duties, and that given the fact that the Constitution provides for the seat of deputy governor, the counties have continued to function. We would agree, having found as we have that the bail terms did not remove the appellant from office, but merely required compliance with the constitutionality sanctioned terms that of necessity limited his access to the county offices until determination of the trial, we find that the learned judge sufficiently addressed the issues of pointing out the relevant constitutionally crafted remedy. All issues considered, we are satisfied that the learned judge determined and analyzed only matters that were placed before her. And as we have found no misdirection in the exercise of discretion, we have no basis upon which to interfere with the High Court's decision. In sum, the appeal is unmerited and is for dismissal with costs to the respondent. It is so ordered.